Hello, I am Avon from Relevate, and in this video we're going to go through lesson 7 around niches. So depending on where you're from, there's either riches in niches or riches in niches. Either way, a niche is something that is very specific or very small audience, but that niche audience wants or needs what you do. Now the difference between a niche and the rest of the market is it's a very small product market fit as opposed to everybody needs water. So selling water is not a niche, but maybe selling a specific type of lens to a specialty group of photographers might be much more of a niche, where if that market is underserviced by anybody else, you can really own that market space. Doesn't mean you're the only one, but what it means is that you are unique in that you're one of the few that offer that service, or maybe you're one of the few or the only one that offer that particular service or product in a particular area. So a niche is more about marketing, in that it helps position your product or service in such a way that you really do stand out. You could be offering something fairly standard, but by offering it in a unique way, you can really stand out from the competition. For example, I was speaking to an accountant, and they have a niche where they offer accounting services specifically for YouTubers, creators, content influencers, etc. Now, the reason why they do this sort of thing is because that's a market that feels like they need to be understood in their particular way. What they do is not unique from anybody else. They have a number of revenue sources, they have expenses, they have to file taxes. Some income is taxed in another country, some taxed locally, and there's just differences in that. But any sort of business would probably be able to do that. If you're importing or exporting goods, you're going to have the same problems. So it's not that the problem is unique, it's that the positioning is unique. The reason why a niche is so important is because if you were just competing with other providers with the same product or service, then your only competition lever is price. You'd have to go down and down to try and get more customers that way. But that's not a good way to do business, because then you're eroding your margins, you're eroding the quality of your business, and you just end up doing more work for less return. Whereas if you're in a niche, you get to charge a higher price because you offer a specialized service or product that allows you to get the returns that you want. You generally work with less people, you generally charge a higher price, you have a much more enjoyable business. Now, it's one thing to have a niche, but it's another thing entirely to actually market it. Now, marketing is a number of things, and sometimes people get caught up in the detail that advertising is different from marketing. But marketing is the experience you have. It is the information that you receive. It is the way you receive advertising. It is the way you receive your receipt, your customer service experience. Does the person across the counter from you greet you with a smile, or do they just lump it in front of you? There are marketing elements, and the more that you invest in marketing, the more you have an improved perception of your product or brand. And the marketing, whilst it's often seen as a cost, is actually an investment. So make sure that you're spending the right dollars on making sure that those marketing elements are coming together in such a way that makes your brand look like it's more valuable. As in, people will be willing to spend more money with you because they perceive that it's a much better product or service, rather than it just being, I'm going to go for the lowest dollar. Some people think marketing is going to Google or Facebook and putting, thousands of dollars per month on ads, but that is far from it. That is equivalent to going down the casino and putting $1,000 on the blackjack table. You have a much better chance of winning if you're testing with small amounts. Now, I am talking about marketing and not the casino. So make sure you are testing your marketing, and you can do a lot of small improvements to the marketing elements in your business without having to spend any money or very much money at all. For example, you might put a nice little thank you message on the bottom of your receipt. You can often type that into whatever your accounting software is or whatever your e-commerce platform is, so that when the invoice or the receipt comes to the customer, they get yet another moment of, they appreciate doing business with me. Now, that's a very small example, but your best part of marketing is a lot of little things that add up to one very big thing, rather than doing one big thing and hoping for a massive return, because that's more than likely not going to be the case. Now, marketing can actually work against you, in that if you do a lot of good marketing on the front end, advertising, promoting, and telling people that you exist, then all of a sudden you get this influx of customers, and then you can't actually handle it. Now you have an operations problem, but it's also a marketing problem because the actual experience of the customers coming down the pipeline is not what was promised on the front end. So if you say, yes, we're good, we have all the resources, we can provide you with an amazing service in no time flat, you then get an influx of double your customer, triple your customer count because you've been doing such excellent marketing. Now everybody goes, well, there's delays, it's really slow, I'm paying a lot, but it's taking a long time. What am I actually getting here? Then you start getting negative reviews and it starts negatively impacting your business reputation. So when you are growing your marketing component within your business, it's like baking a cake. You need all the right ingredients in the right ratios to make sure that you have a quality business or operation, because that marketing experience effect on the back end after you've done the front end marketing, if that's different, now you've actually destroyed your business instead of improved it. So make a lot of little changes, do a lot of testing, and that's going to stand you in much better stead than if you were to go and spend thousands of dollars a month on advertising. Advertising is a quick win, but it's not always the right customer. If you are investing in marketing, now you need to get a return on your marketing investment. You need to be looking at a couple of numbers in your business. First of all, is the average dollar transaction that you are making. Is there a $100 conversion cost on the individual that you're selling to, and then you're getting $100 in the sale? Well, there's probably costs to that. So you're making a dollar equivalent, but you're actually making a loss because you're spending twice and not really getting the coverage or the return back. So you might do this for a lead generation campaign. This is where you start looking at maximizing the lifetime value of the customer. They might come in and buy something on what's called a self-liquidating offer. That's where you pay for the ads, you understand roughly what your average dollar transaction is going to be. It might cost you $100 or $200 in ads or combined effect of things to actually convert a customer into a sale. And even if you recover that cost with the $100 or $200 worth of product that you've sold, now you've actually got a name on a list, somebody who's already spent money with you. That's when you say, hello, can I also recommend that you try this? Or now that you've bought this, why don't you have a look at that? That's the next phase in your journey. So you might get plenty of numbers at the top end that come in and buy that one thing and then never do anything else with you. But that's why self-liquidating, which means that you've covered your costs. The next step is to get the next revenues through the door. Once you've got that customer, it doesn't then cost you as much to advertise back to them. You can literally pick up the phone, or whilst you're in the sales engagement, say, well, what about next? When you are doing your marketing and your advertising, remember not to put all your eggs in one basket. If you've written an ad or if you've got this great idea for a piece of content, just remember that 70% of people buy something to solve a specific problem. So you need to write an ad that speaks to that person at that time when they're making that decision. If you're trying to sell them everything in one go, it's not really going to work. What you're much better off doing is breaking that thought or idea into 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 dot points and elements and perspectives. So if a younger generation person was buying that product, or if an older person might be buying that product, they might have two different reasons for buying that product. They might also respond to different price points. So you might have to reformulate some of the ways that you're presenting your information to really suit that individual market. So when you do write an ad or you do write some copy, write a few. Don't just write one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Go and create different versions and test them. If you put all 5 out, maybe 2 or 3 might be okay. Maybe 1 might be okay. But it could be that one that makes the return to cover all the time and energy spent on building the other ones. Another thought is that things change, people change, ideals change, language changes, opinions change. So don't think that this one thing that you wrote is going to be set and forget and it's going to last forever. You might get into a little ad pocket or something like that where they've got a whole bunch of people looking for that one keyword at that particular time. But as trends change and people shift their focus, or perhaps as the market for that one keyword gets flooded, then you're going to have to continue coming up with new ad sets, new ideas, new concepts. And this is not a set and forget thing. It's a rolling process and something you need to be doing on a regular basis. And remember that when you're doing your marketing, that about 80% of ads don't work. They don't go anywhere. So you need to be aware that a lot of the people that you are marketing to are not your ideal customer. if you understand the AIDA model, awareness, interest, desire, action, then you understand the sequence that people need to go through. First of all, you need to promote out there for the world to see and become aware of your brand. Then you need to create a level of interest and engagement where you're creating conversations with the people in your space and really deepening that understanding. Once you've created an element of desire, you then need to capitalize on that. You need to provide an offer, a click here to buy, etc. And then once they've taken that action, that's now the start of the customer relationship. Now you've built the customer perception of you, and now you've acted on it. And what are you going to do next? You need to build loyalty. You need to build repeat business. You need to build upsells, cross-sells. You need to continue that customer lifetime engagement. If your product or service is a one-time purchase that's worth a lot of money, great. Marketing is fine. If your product or service is a one-time purchase that's worth very, very little, you better hope and pray that you've got a whole bunch of other products that you can sell them, or some level of recurring service or repeat buyer component to your business. Otherwise, all of those marketing dollars spent on making that sale is not really going to help you continue to grow. And remember that the customers that you have, once you've built that relationship, can also be great word of mouth referrers to other potential customers. Someone who's referred by a friend is 4 times more likely to buy, which makes them far more effective than Google ads or Facebook ads or any of that sort of thing. And going for volume of sales is not a great metric. It's much better to get a small number of long-term repeat buyers who are just right for your business than it is to go and get a high volume of fickle one-off buyers that are going to argue on price and take your time in serving the clients that are actually good. If it's volume you want to go for, you need to look at how you can simplify your product or service. Sometimes volume can be good, but in order to be able to scale that out or scale yourself out of the process, you need to have everything quite heavily documented so that you can actually extract yourself from the process. So remember that leads times conversion equals customers. So the more leads you have and the better you are at converting, then the more customers you will end up having. The more time you spend improving your leads is not really worthwhile if you're not converting them. So your conversion is your sales conversation. So you can have all the leads in the world, but if you can't convert any of them, then you're not going to have any customers. Or if you're amazing at conversion, but you've got no leads, again, you have a problem. So you need to be great at both, and you need to improve both at an equal level, because the speed with which you can convert will increase your ability to handle more leads. Your ability to handle more leads will increase your ability, once you've converted them, to get customers. And remember, what gets measured gets managed. So you need to understand that the more leads you have and the better you convert, then the more customers you have. And then if you're selling them more things, and then if you're making them more of a lifetime kind of customer, then you're going to get more and more revenue into your business. But revenue is not the end of the story. Margin is what's more important. Margin is the amount of money you make on top of the product or service that you sell. So if I bought something for $100 and I sell it for $200, then my margin is 50%. So half of what the product is worth to the customer is my margin. Now, that margin goes into covering your fixed costs, which then goes into covering your profit that you get at the end of the day. So making sure that you've got enough margin in your products and that you're selling enough products. Now, it is possible to be so successful that you go out of business. And that is generally because people don't have any margins in their products. Having a niche allows you to charge more money to a smaller set of people. Not that there's less people and less transactions, it's just that maybe there's less competition, or a lot of people searching for something that in a market that's underserved. So if you are able to have more leads, have more conversions, charge more money, then naturally you're going to have a lot more profit. Sometimes you can make a lot more money in a smaller business that's very profitable, as opposed to a bigger business that has very high revenue but very little profitability at the end of the day. So the challenge is to get 10% better in each area. Remember, I said it was like baking a cake. A little improvement in all of the areas means that you're going to make a lot of improvement at the end of the day. So can you get 10% better at the amount of leads that you get in the business? Can you get 10% better at the conversion rate that you have? Can you get 10% better margins by charging more money? Can you get 10% better at your cost management? All of these things together are going to weigh in together to create a much more significant return at the end of the day. There are lots of ways to increase your average sale. For example, going into McDonald's, they're always asking you if you want fries with that. Or if you buy it in a meal, you can't get it anywhere near as cheap as a better value because they're encouraging you to spend more money. But if you were to buy just a burger on its own and a drink on its own and fries on its own, it will actually cost you more. So they're kind of incentivizing you to buy probably more than you would otherwise do. You probably only need just the sandwich, burger, whatever, and a drink, and then that would be fine. Or would you like to go large? That's another way to do it. You go to coffee shops, exactly the same. So encouraging extra transaction is easier. So that's selling more often, or charging more for the same thing. So remember that the goal here is to stand out. And if you're competing on price, then all of the calculations are going to be off. You're going to have much higher leads, you're going to have much lower conversion, and even if you've got the conversion, it's not going to be worth your time and energy and effort to do it. So having a niche is really important for making sure that the quality of client that you have is actually worthwhile for the value of business that you want to have, or the quality of lifestyle that you want to have. It's a hell of a lot easier to work with clients that appreciate you than ones that are ready, willing, and able to pull everything apart and really make you work for every single dollar that they give you. So make sure that you choose a business that is actually going to do something for you rather than one that's just going to be painful to run. Having a niche really allows you to pick and choose your clients, to be a little bit more upmarket in terms of the product that you offer, and to get more profit out of the business that you run with far less competition and difficulty. So thank you for watching, and keep an eye out for the next one.